Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where today, guys, winter meetings are right around the corner, and what does that mean for us as fans? Tons of rumors and news and updates. Who's getting traded to where? Who's getting signed to where? We're going to react to some of the latest MLB news and Blue Jays news. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, and we got lots of stuff on the docket today, guys. Potential catcher getting traded for the Toronto Blue Jays. That market is heating up a ton per sources. Potential stuff going down with some of the big shortstops. Potential trade partners for said catcher, and some other starting pitchers on the free agency market that are getting a lot of looks and maybe even more. Welcome in, everybody. There's 65 people in here right now. Shout out and thank you for tuning in. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get straight into it. First things first, everybody. Catchers. This was an article out here by MLB Trade Rumors, talking about pretty much everything going on right here. You got the catchers, you got the Aaron Judge, you got the shortstop market. That is literally all-encompassing MLB free agency. They're looking at the catcher market heating up. To sum this all up, because I'm not going to read this whole paragraph for you guys, basically they're looking at Wilson Contreras, looking at Christian Vasquez. Those guys are heating up. But the most important thing is this last comment down below here, where they say a lot of teams are looking at Sean Murphy, and then they're also saying that, and John Morrissey is suggesting a deal could be done during the winter meetings, and teams that miss out on Murphy could quickly pivot to one of the top free agents, while the Blue Jays are expected to deal one of Danny Jansen, Alejandro Kirk, or Gabriel Moreno. So basically, Sean Murphy right now, everybody's looking at him because I think he'd be easier to trade for than an Alejandro Kirk or a Gabriel Moreno. But if he goes off the board, then we're next in line. It's like we're right there.
See, that's weird. I feel like why wouldn't you want to trade for one of our guys? I feel like our guys are more, no offense, Sean Murphy. I think we're a little bit more valuable than Sean Murphy.
I think that Sean Murphy is probably you could make the argument, but maybe a little bit more proven better than a Danny Jansen, in my opinion.
I guess so, but I think the value with a Gabriel Moreno is a lot bigger, a lot more control. So I feel like that's the guy I'd want to target if I'm going to go with the trade route for catcher. I want Gabriel Moreno.
I think it also depends too, what sort of team is looking at this right now. Let's say the Cardinals, for instance. Yes, the Cardinals are going to lose Yadier Molina, and we're going to get to the Cardinals, by the way, because we potentially, big trade, John Morrissey's talking about that.
I love the quote that he said.
Yeah, literally. It is awesome, guys. But the Cardinals, for instance, I understand why they'd be in on a Sean Murphy and why what John Morrissey recommends is a Danny Jansen, because rather than the Gabriel Moreno, even though that's super sexy and that's awesome and you could have him forever and the ceiling would be super high, they're also in a position where it's we could compete, we could win the division next year. We know exactly what we're going to get out of Sean Murphy and probably Danny Jansen. They're probably going to be really good. We know that they can handle a staff. We know that we can put them in the 5, 6, 7 hole in our lineup, and it will work out. Whereas with Gabriel Moreno, it could not work out. He could take a little bit of time. So I understand why a more competitive ball club is looking at the Sean Murphy and the Danny Jansen. If I was a Miami Marlins, though, which maybe we could talk about later, that's all Gabriel Moreno, in my opinion. I'm all over Gabriel Moreno if I'm them.
Right, yeah, for sure. Well, let's take a look at that John Morrissey quote right here. I believe he said this on a podcast. Or it was on a podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
So Morrissey says, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see something like Jansen for Nootbaar come to fruition during the winter meetings. That's the exact quote that we have in the thumbnail, guys. So for Nootbaar, we talked about him on another podcast. How do you feel? Let's take a look at the stats.
Let's take a quick look at these boys here.
So obviously we know about Jansen. Jansen had an incredible breakout year, 850 OPS kind of year. But Nootbaar, now he's that lefty outfielder, and he's young, tons of control. He's not as proven. He's a very young guy, but still 788 OPS last year. Batting average kind of low. He's not going to replace Teoscar Hernandez.
No.
The OPS plus is definitely there. He gets on base a crap load. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Kevin Biggio, but an outfielder version. What do you think about Laars Nootbar?
I absolutely love him, dude, and it's kind of what we're looking for. You're right, he's not Teoscar Hernandez, but he's not Teoscar Hernandez yet. right? It's like we don't like Teoscar Hernandez wasn't even Teoscar Hernandez until like 4 years into his career. You know, like it took him a minute to get developed. And similarly, like this guy, he's showing a lot of good signs for what you want to see in a young player. Excellent on base, excellent eyeball, and clearly with a little bit more slugging power than a Danny Jansen. You know, like this is what or not Danny Jansen, excuse me, Cavan Biggio. This is what I wanted Cavan Biggio to be. This was what I was like, if Cavan Biggio, if you could do like everything in your kit perfectly, this is what you could be. And like Laars Nootbar is doing it to perfection so far.
Okay, I'll make a little counter argument just so something could consider. So it would be a slight downgrade from a Teoscar Hernandez for sure.
Sure, yeah.
So, but he needs to take a little bit longer. I think he could eventually be something great. Yeah. And I'm all for turning back the clock on contracts and like hoping that a guy becomes better because there's so many guys in our lineup right now that can make up for Teoscar Hernandez's production, right? But I'll make the same argument of like, okay, why would we trade for a guy who's not ready to compete right now? Do you think Laars Nootbar could be a competitive player right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, well, listen, dude. Yeah. He was on the St. Louis Cardinals. He had a 70-88 OPS. St. Louis Cardinals were a better team than we were last year. So it's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, he is 1,000% ready to compete. I don't remember. Like, do you know where he batted in that lineup?
No,
I have no idea, to be honest. That'd be a great thing to consider. It's like, where was he in that lineup? But yes, of course, he's absolutely ready to compete right now. He would definitely be better than the alternatives that we have there. And that would also give us an opportunity to see what Moreno is all about and to just like walk ourselves down that avenue and be like, can you be the guy for the future with Alejandro Kirk?
Well, this is a little fun little thing here. Mantis saying check Nootbar splits away and home. Now, I'm not a big believer of away and a home splits. I just think it's all random. But away, he bats 269 with an OPS of 956. But at home, horrible. Hey, so maybe he goes to the Rogers Center and he's like, I like it here. I'm going to be a 956 hitter, have a breakout year.
That's not half bad there, guys. Like, do we know, is St. Louis, is that a hitting ball club?
I don't think it's a big hitting ball club.
Yeah, like I feel like that's like kind of mid-tier to potentially like more favored to the pitchers there. Somebody correct us in the chat, to be honest. But that ain't bad there, bro. How many home runs does he hit in the Rogers Center? Do we know?
Let's see. In the Rogers Center, he's hitting 15.
He's hitting 15?
And then he's hitting 14 in St. Louis.
Okay, so relatively the same there.
Yeah,
relatively the same.
But
still, that's something interesting to note. Like, usually when it's that far of a split, it's like, okay, maybe there is something to be said for this. Right. Maybe the guy just hates St. Louis.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just like, literally,
get out of there.
Literally, it's like, St. Louis sucks. I need to go play in a different city. I'll tell you right now, if he did that, then he more than makes up for Teoscar Hernandez. So it's like clearly it's like the ceiling, the capability, it is there. And I feel like for a Danny Jansen, like I like Danny Jansen. I think he's cool. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's good in the clubhouse.
I would trade him in a heartbeat, I think.
But at the end of the day, it's like you're right. Like you get a guy who is locked in for several seasons, ready to go, can be the lefty bat that we need, with the upside to, maybe one day entrench himself in the top 5 of the lineup if he really pops off.
I agree. I mean, if he's a lefty, he could be in the top 5 this year. He could be batting 5th this year if he's popping off.
Well, literally, like if he had a 778 OPS, then I think that'll honestly be good enough for John Schneider. And
Teoscar most of the year was batting
about that.
Exactly.
Literally about that.
And even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse.
100%, dude.
Taking a look at the values right here on TradeValues.com, he is worth a little bit more. And I do agree. I think that trading Nootbaar and Danny Jansen 1-for-1 will not get it done. So if a trade was something like, let's take a look at all the Blue Jays players, what would be something to get it done? Something around the value of a Jansen and one of these prospects. Yeah. I don't even know these guys. But yeah, I don't care. Would you be ready to get it done? Get it done.
100%, dude. And it is very, very exciting to see that John Morosi is saying, don't be surprised to see this. Yeah. This is what he's been hearing around the league right now. This is what his sources are telling him. Like, rumblings are like, this isn't going to happen in January or February or March.
Winter meetings.
Like, it's going to happen next week. You know, it's literally going to transpire next week. And again, if we see Sean Murphy leave, if one of the big catchers on free agency, if they get signed, like, we're right there, guys. We're right there.
Yeah, you should expect it to happen. I would be shocked if nothing happens with the Blue Jays in the next week or two.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
Well, let's go through the teams right now so we can all get like a good sense here. St. Louis Cardinals. They are looking for a catcher. They are in on
Padres are looking for a catcher.
Padres. They are looking for a catcher. They are in on one. We actually have an article up there, which we can get to in a little bit, talking about the Cleveland Guardians. They are looking for a catcher. They are in on one. I think that you could definitely make the argument that, and we probably won't trade with them, but the Yankees, they are going to be in the market for a catcher. They could be in on one.
Trevino did just win Gold Glove. They do like Trevino.
That's fair. Houston Astros, I don't know how stuck they are on Maldonado. They do like him.
I did hear that they were thinking about getting another catcher. I think they wanted Contreras, right?
Exactly. So they're going to be in on one. Those are 5 squads right there. There's not enough good free agents to go around to those 5 teams.
No, it's Contreras.
Literally. It's Contreras, it's Vasquez.
That's it.
And then after that, there's a very steep drop-off. And then you're looking at Sean Murphy, and then you're looking at the Blue Jays catchers.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if Sean Murphy gets traded and Contreras gets snatched up, it's like, oh, and I'm the Cleveland Guardians right now. Blue Jays. Like, I'm ready to have maybe more of an even favorable deal going in your direction.
Yeah, well, a Cal Quantrill, I know that you were looking at him a little bit. He's a potential guy that they could get in a trade.
Absolutely.
Now, it just all depends on how desperate they are, because if we're the only option left, well, yeah, you got to pay up. Send us one of your good pitchers.
Well, let's take a quick look at this article here, basically about them showing a lot of interest in Sean Murphy. Now, obviously, that's a bit of a bad update for the Blue Jays. That means that they like Sean Murphy, rightfully so. But once again, like I said,
could be good.
Exactly. If they like Sean Murphy, then they're also going to like Danny Jansen, and you better believe that they're going to like Alejandro Kirk as well, right? So if Sean Murphy was to get traded to somebody else, then they are definitely going to be in on it. Cal Quantrill, can we remind ourselves about his stats right now? I was actually shocked, everybody. Like, Shane Bieber gets the appreciation over there, totally. But this guy's pretty damn good well, too. He's Canadian. He's 27. He's got years left on his deal. Win-loss record means absolutely nothing, but when you have a win-loss record of 15-5, it looks pretty good. The last several years, he's been pitching a lot of innings, and they've really all been quality. I like it. I like it a lot, dude.
I want him. I mean, yeah, how many years does he have left on his contract?
I think, like, at least 2. I think it's 3, though. Like, I think that you have him for several seasons, man.
And I hope so, because if we can pull off a trade, because obviously the value depends on this. Yeah, 3
years.
More years.
3 more years.
I think if we pull off a trade with a Cal Quantrill, do you think they'd be interested now? Or would the Guardians be also interested in someone like a Danny Jansen with 2 years of control?
I think that they would, but I mean, I think, like, we do need to be a bit realistic here. Like, Cal Quantrill to Danny Jansen, like,
Cal Quantrill's way better.
Absolutely. So I think that if you were to do a Danny Jansen thing, then you need to be adding, like, a really nice other piece as well, right? Like, it's got to be pretty good. And frankly, like, if I was the Guardians, if I was going to give away Cal Quantrill, I'd be a lot more interested in an Alejandro Kirk or a Gabriel Moreno.
I'm shocked how low they're rating
that's
him.
Stupid.
That's why it's stupid.
That's dumb as hell, yeah. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, we love this site right here, Baseball Trade Simulator. Like, it gives you a visual, it gives you something to look at. But that's just not true at all.
Danny Jansen's more than double Cal Quantrill.
Yeah. You have less years. You have less production. Like literally not at all. Cal Quantrill is like, he could step in and be a BR2, right? Like, he was actually, I think he was better than what Gausman did last year. So he would have been our 2 last year.
I don't know how much WAR I think Danny Jansen actually has a crap load of WAR, but like 1.9 WAR, 2.9 WAR. Okay, so Danny Jansen, according to WAR, is the better player, but I don't think more than double.
Yeah. I completely disagree with that, man. And at the end of the day, for our needs specifically, Cal Quantrill pitched 189 innings last year, picked up 15 Ws, and had an ERA of 3.38. Like
that's give them to me.
Exactly. Like that's like yes, exactly what I need.
That solves our pitching problem for the next 3 years.
And he's Canadian.
Yeah, come on, he's Canadian, guys. Him and Romano.
He grew up around here.
Fort Hope, him
like,
and Romano.
Literally.
Slicing and dicing, baby. I love that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Wow. I feel like he'd be so good.
So our rotation would be Manoah, him, Gosman, Burrios. Burrios at 4 is great. Even though he gets paid a lot, who cares? That's a great bounce-back candidate.
Exactly.
And then number 5, we can just figure that out as we go.
And at 4, the pressure's off, you know? At 4, it's like the pressure's off. There's so many guys ahead of me right here.
Exactly.
Like the pressure's not on. It's like now I have something to prove, and it's like the whole mentality shifted now for Jose Barrios, I think. So Cal Quantrill is definitely a guy that I think the Blue Jays need to be looking at. So it looks like we're looking at Laars Nootbar. It looks like we're looking at potentially the Guardians as well. Lots of stuff right now that the Blue Jays are potentially targeting for these catchers. I want to take a quick second here and shout out the fact that we did just hit 69 likes. You guys are elite. To the 144 people in here watching right now, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you actually doing? We post daily MLB content, literally go live all the time. I promise y'all, you will not regret it.
Here, let me talk about this right here by Leafs Network. Kirk won't get moved. Team probably scared of recent hammy injuries with Jano that keep coming. If Kirk gets dealt, it's even for bigger fish. What do you think about that?
I like the idea that Kirk would be dealt for an even bigger fish, obviously.
Absolutely.
I do think that you're right. Like, I think that the media has portrayed this thing where it's like people don't like Kirk, and I just think that that's stupid. It's just wrong. At the end of the day, I mean, just for what he brings, like, he's a fan favorite, right? It's like, you know that your whole squad's gonna love him. The whole fan base is gonna love him. He hits great. He catches good. It's like, that's dumb. I think that people do value Alejandro Kirk, and I think I honestly...
I was gonna say, if they don't value Alejandro Kirk, then like if they're not gonna give us what we want, what we think he's worth, then well, that's your loss. Because I will be glad to have Alejandro Kirk as my 1-2 catcher.
I'm gonna be honest, man. As time goes on, I do not see a reality where Alejandro Kirk gets traded.
I agree.
I think that it's too stupid.
First of all, he's a great player, great teammate, and just from a business standpoint, he's popular.
Yes.
Why would you trade someone who's loved by your entire team in the first year? It's like, this is breakout year. Why would you do that?
Literally. And I mean, again, he's got like 4 years left of
4
control.
years.
Like, you just don't do that, man.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it really is one of those things where it's like, unless you know, we're getting Jose Ramirez back, or it's something stupid like that, right? It's like, it has to be one of those things.
Someone who can replace his value.
Literally.
That he brings to the team.
Literally. And then some. So I don't really see a reality where Alejandro Kirk gets moved. I am getting more in the camp of the Danny Jansen or the Gabriel Moreno. Like, either one, I actually don't care. Like, I think that you can make very strong arguments for trading both of them.
Yeah.
And you know, depending on the return, I really don't give a shit. Just send one of them away and give me one of our needs.
Well, it should be happening soon. If you guys are just tuning in, like, the rumors are, it is happening soon. Like, it could be next week, it could be the week after, but winter meetings are happening, guys, next week. I feel like it's bound to happen. All right, let's take a look at let's take a look at news. I know someone is a Phillies fan in the chat. This one, it goes exactly with what you love, but you don't love to see this because Zach Eflin, he ain't coming back, guys. He's going to a 3-year deal to our AL East rival, the Tampa Bay Rays. What are your first thoughts and reactions that Zach Eflin is joining the Rays?
Yeah, it seems like a very Rays-esque deal, to be honest. I think it's $40 million that they're going out and they're getting him.
Which, I was like, dang, like, Rays, okay.
I know,
making
like,
a move.
Spending up right now.
Spending up.
I'm not concerned about Zach Eflin, dude. I haven't been concerned about Zach Eflin. I don't like Zach Eflin very much. Like, he's very much
he sucks.
like... He's just like...
He's just mid.
Exactly.
He's mid.
He's completely and utterly mid. Maybe Tampa Bay, they can get something out of him.
Yeah, that's got to be the reason why.
Like, he is only 28 years old, and we know how Tampa Bay likes to transform people.
Yeah.
But this is such a Tampa Bay Rays move to see their guy be like, we're just, like, we're obviously not going to be in Verlander or any of those guys.
We're just going to get our guy.
We don't need to wait for the market to develop.
Yeah.
Let's just sign him, and we're done now. So
okay, I gotta guess what they're going to do to him. He's got way too many pitches. They're going to be like, all right, drop everything.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to think like this. Oh, my God, this guy changes up. Oh my God. From year to year, look at his different pitch mixes.
Holy shit.
This guy's a different pitcher every year. All right, let's see here. Expected batting average. Oh, you were just going to throw your curveball? We're going to get rid of that sinker, and you're going to the four-seamer. That's the new Zach Eflin, baby.
Four-seam, curve, and maybe like 10% changeup or something. Yeah. That'll be that.
Yeah, they're like, why are you... Look at it. He's like, why are you throwing a sinker all of a sudden, my guy? Mm-hmm. Why are you doing that? Yeah, that's Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, I'm not worried either. Honestly, I'm getting to the point now where, with the Tampa Bay Rays, where I think that they're pretty much, like, they're not threatening to me anymore.
Right.
They're not threatening to me. Last year was the year I'm like, we can definitely beat you. What about you? What do you think?
I've always been in that camp.
I know you've always been.
I've always been in the camp. Where
Last year's the first year for me.
I think that it's like, we can beat them for sure. Like, who knows? Like, they could definitely have a bounce back year. They were dealing with injuries on injuries. So, we definitely, we got to give them credit in that regard. And they were still very competitive. But, come on. We got to figure them out eventually, right? I feel like Kevin Cash is definitely ahead of his time. But, how far ahead? 5 years from the rest of the competition?
Yeah, everyone's catching up.
You got to catch up eventually.
But then wouldn't he also be 5 years ahead?
I understand. I get it. But it's I feel like that's not how it works. Eventually you reach your glass ceiling and everybody figures you out. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but I still I like our chances against Tampa Bay next year, and Zach Eflin definitely doesn't make me feel any other ways about it.
Hey, Rat's just saying Eflin probably going to be a long relief. Could be. I mean, they are losing Yarbrough, okay, so he could be a replacement there. Right. That's what it feels like for me, so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Let's get to the next rumor that we have going on here. Jameson Taillon. Now, he is drawing strong interest in free agency per this article. I mean, they're looking at other aces here, like Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, Carlos Rodon.
Gaining steam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The market, and I totally understand this. I totally get it, right? Because if you're another squad, Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, and Carlos Rodon, they're scary to me, dude. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to compete with so many other teams.
The Dodgers, the Yankees,
I'm gonna have to pay
Rangers.
So much $1 million. But it's if I'm literally any other squad,
even the Blue Jays.
Yeah, even the Blue Jays. If I'm any other squad than the Dodgers, I'm like, well, maybe we can sneak a fast one here with Jameson Taillon.
Dude, I would actually love to have Jameson Taillon join our team. Look, I mean, he is a bit better than mid. He's got a 3.84 ERA. That's a solid, I put him in the 4, part of the rotation.
That's what he is.
That's it. And he's not consistent. I remember last year, sometimes, he'd go on cold and hot streaks.
Yeah.
But that's what you get out of a 4 guy.
Yeah.
That's why he's at 3.91 ERA in 2022.
Got a pretty good whip for a 4 guy, too.
Oh, yeah. Great. Honestly, this is a guy, if the Blue Jays were to sneak and grab, and that was our starting pitcher offseason move, I'm cool with it.
Literally, and then it's you spend the money on Brandon Nimmo.
Exactly.
And you also make a trade with a Danny Jansen, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's we don't need to acquire maybe the pitching star that I think a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah.
We could get some more other depth guys with the Danny Jansen trade.
100%.
You get Jameson Taillon. You also get Brandon Nimmo. Done and dusted. We're set.
Amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah. Okay. So let's say that we signed Jameson Taillon, like we're saying, and then we bring on Brandon Nimmo. Big deal. We signed Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
Now, what do you try to get back for Danny Jansen?
I think you look at more bullpen guys. I think that you look at maybe another Jameson Taillon.
Yeah,
or another mid-tier kind of player like that. Obviously the best deal that you can get. Yeah. Also, shout out to Rahul. We will get to your donation in just a second, dude. But yeah, I think that you look for one of those guys just to fill it out more. And I'm going to be posting a video on Saturday. I think a lot of you guys are going to like it. It's a totally different take that we haven't been talking about, which is, what do you do if we don't sign anybody?
Oh god.
Yeah, how do we win the World Series if we don't sign anybody? And a big point that I make in that video is, well, rather than trade a catcher for a star, you actually need to trade a catcher for a bunch of pieces, depth pieces, because we're gonna fucking get injuries at some point. And the team right now, the roster right now, if we sustain a big injury, I don't think we're prepared to handle that.
I agree with that, man. I mean, in our infield, you got Cavan, you got Espinal, but our outfield. Wow, it's pretty shallow right now.
I mean, if George Springer pulls a 2020 George Springer, 2021, excuse me, George Springer, where it's we're on for half the season and half of that half the season we're still fucking rehabbing and shit. Are we prepared to handle that? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have a random Marcus Semien breakout again.
Yeah, as of right now, like, we would have, if George goes down, it would be Lourdes, it would be Witt, and it'd be Biggio.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's literally nobody.
Yep.
Literally nobody.
And I'm seeing some people in here right now, Leafs Network, saying, don't forget about Witt.
Oh, no.
I'm not forgetting about Witt at all. But if that happens, then to make playoffs, you are requiring Whit Merrifield to be as good as he finished.
Yeah, you have
to.
to.
It's like, it's not like, well, you could do it, you could not. It's like, no, if we want to compete with the Yankees, you need to.
Yeah.
And so does Biggio, and so does Lourdes.
Biggio would be a starting everyday player, and
which
we
is
just cannot be doing that.
Scary thing to think about.
Which is, like... So, yeah, we'll have to... Guys, stay tuned for next video, because I need to know the answers of how you think we would win this.
There's a lot of things that need to go right, dude. Rahul coming in here with a $5 donation. Shout out and thank you to Rahul, saying, if the Jays get Nootbaar, I think that they are out on Nimmo. They will still go after Bellinger, because he can play first base and center field. Money towards elite starter. Couldn't agree more. Also, shout out again to Mets fan, dude. I'm more than happy to answer your super chat in a second, dude. But just to finish off with the Rahul thing, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment there. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think Bellinger wants to play center field mostly. That's at least what the word is. But yeah, I mean, hell yeah, it makes it like he's a good fit. He's a good fit. I mean, you give Vladdy off his feet a little bit rather than having... Like, he actually played first base for a competitive, like, Dodgers ball club.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you have Lourdes, who subs in every now and then, and Kevin. Kevin doesn't do a bad first, though. I will admit, Kevin doesn't do a bad first. But I love it. I love it. Thank you, Rahul. And thank you, Mets fan, for the donation.
Yeah, we actually have Mets fan here. We will pivot just from the Jays news for a second. Don't worry, guys. We will be coming back to it. But just to answer this super chat question, Mets fan here, what will the Mets do at the winter meetings? Great question. I think, as always, the New York Mets are going to be as active as ever. Adam was saying you're very much in the camp of the Carlos Rodon to the New York Mets.
Yeah, I like it. I like that fit a lot. I mean, you turn back the clock a little bit on DeGrom. I know that we're talking to Ballcap. He thinks that DeGrom's going to go back to New York. I've been seeing a lot of the opposite of, like, DeGrom wanting to go and test out the market and, like, not having a good relationship with New York.
Right.
So I think that he's going to leave. And I think that a Carlos Rodon replacement, even like a Jamison Tyone or something, even though it's New York, I think that's not a big name or, like, everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
I think, like, them getting Carlos Rodon and one more, like, Taijuan Walker-esque kind of pitcher, that's the way that they're gonna go.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, that team is very talented. I think if they did that, they would be more than okay. I do think that you need to figure out how you're gonna deal with that Brandon Nimmo loss if he does eventually move on. Does that mean Cody Bellinger? Does that mean somebody else?
I think they could be in on Cody Bellinger.
Absolutely, they could be in on Cody Bellinger. I would not be surprised. Like, literally, any team, any guy that we're in on, you are also in on. So, wouldn't be surprised to see the Mets snake us when it comes to Cody Bellinger, dude.
Absolutely.
Rahul here with the super chat donation. Shout out and thank you to everybody for donating here. I see the Jays trading Gurriel for bullpen depth. Okay, let's address this real
let's
quick.
talk about that. Okay, first of all, I don't think... Actually, I don't even think Gurriel is not getting moved. Not getting moved. You already moved Teo. Why would you move Gurriel?
Can't happen.
That would be really shooting yourself in the foot.
That would be... That is the epitome of stupid.
It can't happen.
That is literally, like, I would immediately call into question everything that we're doing, like the entire motive, because even if you were to get an outfielder back, even if you get an outfielder back for the trade for Lourdes, and you sign somebody else, I still would go on to question what this is doing to the clubhouse in the long run. Yeah. I still would go on to question. It's like, Teo was loved by people there. Oh, my God, I know. And Lourdes is probably loved even more.
Oh, my God,
What that's going to do to the locker room, it's like, even if you bring in and you deal with the outfielders, which is a whole nother problem that you'd have to have, what is that going to do to everybody else?
You're literally overhauling a whole team. And I remember when the Mets started making all those moves a few years ago, and they got a completely new team. They did really well last year, but in 2021... it didn't really work.
Because they weren't gelled
They
yet.
didn't have an identity.
Yeah.
They didn't have an identity, whereas the Blue Jays have had an identity for the last few years.
Yeah.
And losing Teo sucks, and bringing someone in will be a little different, but I think there's the core that's still there. Like, think about Matt Chapman. He came in, he wasn't part of the core, but he quickly became part of the core because you see the chemistry and you gel in.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen with whatever. Nootbaar, with Nimmo, whoever's coming in, Bellinger, he'll feel
I think it's much more likely that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. gets an extension
then gets traded.
Because at the end of the day, I truly believe that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is part of the core.
Yeah.
And I know that baseball's a business, sports is a business, and like if you get the best deal available, like I mean, you know, you're not going to say no necessarily, but he's part of the team. He's part of the Blue Jays. He's part of the team. I think he likes being here. He likes being with Vlad. He likes being with those guys. I think he's going to get extended.
I think he's going to get an offer at least.
Yes.
I think they're going to lowball him because I feel like that's what they're going to obviously try and do.
For sure. You go back and forth.
You know, like, but I think he's worth like in that 10 to 15 average inning value per year kind of guy.
Absolutely.
And I think he'll smash it. Yeah.
Mets fan once again with a donut. So shout out and thank you to Mets fan for the donations, guys. Do you see the Mets signing Trey Turner? Great question.
I'm gonna say no.
I personally don't see that happening. Now I know that you guys are crazy. Steve Cohen is nuts, and he's nuts in a good way for you guys.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you made your shortstop move. You signed him to the money. I think that you need to now, if you're going to spend big dollars on anybody, it's going to be your guy, Jacob deGrom, or it's going to be, you know, another dude like your Brandon Nimmo. Like, you got to sign your own players.
Yeah, back. I think there's more of a demand in that rotation than getting a luxury item like Trey Turner. And it's the same thing when people talk about, like, the Blue Jays and getting a shortstop. It's like, it would be a luxury. You don't need it.
Right.
It's pretty when you have everything. That's why the Dodgers were able to do what Dodgers did for so long in like the last couple of years, trading for all these luxury pieces because they had everything else. And shout out again, Mets fan, for another donation.
Asking us, who is the Mets going to sign? Everybody that they're going to sign. Honestly, chat, go off on here.
Go off.
Yeah, literally, like, I'm sticking with, like, I was in the DeGrom camp. Adam's in the Rodon camp. So they're literally going back and forth there. You're going to get an elite pitcher. You are going to get one. It is going to happen. Whether or not, I think you're letting Brandon Nimmo walk. I honestly think that you're the biggest competition for Cody Bellinger. And if you don't get Cody Bellinger, you're getting Andrew Benintendi. There you go. That's who you're getting. And you're probably going to sign a bullpen guy as well.
There you go. All right.
Let's get back to what we were talking about. We were actually we were about to move over here to some news going on with shortstops.
Yeah. Timing.
Xander Bogaerts, elite player, free agency, and I feel like we're not talking about Xander Bogaerts enough because he's getting overshadowed, which is actually insane when you think about just how talented of a player Xander Bogaerts is. As Adam looks up the stats right there, 177 people in here right now. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. We really want to get to 11,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be awesome for us. And we post daily content. It is really good. We're good.
Guys, his last 4 years, a 304 batting average, a slugging of 503, an OPS of 879.
Yeah.
And he's turning 30 this year.
And also, too, sidebar, not a single injury.
Not a single
Look
injury.
at those ABs, it's like
perfect.
Like literally, you are. What more? In fact, his whole career,
he stays on the field.
What more could you ask for out of a player?
Yeah.
Literally, what more?
Oh my God! Look at this last few years. The 4 Silver Sluggers in that time. He's
exactly.
unreal. Now he's going to get paid less, and understandably so, than Trey Turner. Trey Turner is a godsend. He is absolutely amazing, but. How much would Bogaerts? What kind of deal are we looking at for Bogaerts? And would there be a possibility that the Blue Jays would even question this or consider this?
Okay. Let's go back to. Can we go back to the full cam here, just so we can give our reactions here? Please do that. Literally, please do that. I often don't go crazy for older players and stuff like that.
Well,
even
30,
even when George Springer was a guy, I was I want it, but I'm he's got injury concerns. It's blah blah blah.
Yeah, but not with Xander.
I don't see any hole, any problem, any issue with Xander Bogaerts. If there's any player on the free agency market that I am truly enamored with, it is Xander Bogaerts for the value that I think you can get him at, for what he's going to bring to your ball club. There's been no scandal with him. There's been no, it's
just a
literally
great player.
Just an
great
overall,
player.
you just want to have him. You just want to have him.
And wow, and look at the defense right there, folks. You could easily put him at shortstop. He's incredible. Move, that would solve the Bo thing. You move him over. I like Xander. He's a player. He would bat in that 4 spot every single day.
Oh God, yeah.
However, it ain't gonna happen, folks.
Probably not.
It ain't gonna happen.
Probably not.
As much as I'd love it, there are other holes, just like we're talking about the Mets, that we need to fill, and that is getting another starter, and that is fixing that outfield. If you can do that in the next week, if you could somehow sign Brandon Nimmo, go get Jameson Taillon, trade a catcher, get some pitching, then the whole offseason, the whole question changes. We may not be done. There may be opportunity to do these luxury kind of moves, depending on how much money we spend the next few weeks, who we're trading, and all that stuff. So let's wait on the shortstop conversations until later.
At the end of the day, I am sick and tired of having Bo Bichette play shortstop for us. That is well documented on this channel. I've said it time and time again. If he was here, I'd probably even tell him to his face. I might not say it as brutally honest as that, but I would definitely tell him. It's like, what's going on, buddy?
Are we working hard?
Yeah.
He is. That's a sad thing. He actually, I know. We know he's working hard.
I know. But it's not working.
It's not working.
He might be working, but it's not working. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of move in the shortstop category, some sort of play. And I think I have actually heard rumblings and rumors that the Blue Jays have maybe reached out or considered, quote unquote considered, because sources know that. Dansby Swanson. And I think that's more in the range of maybe we can afford this and maybe we could do this.
That would be something interesting.
Because I think Xander Bogaerts is probably out of our price range.
Yeah. Xander's more expensive than Xander's more
1,000% Xander is definitely more expensive than Dansby Swanson. However, Dansby Swanson is definitely a talented player. Look at the WAR. The defense was incredible. He will be a good, solid contributor, and he'll probably cost around the same as Brandon Nimmo, maybe even a little bit less than that. So he's a lot more in the realm of possibility, I think.
Granted, righty. Man, I feel like this whole offseason is defined by which side of the plate you stand on. Like, why couldn't we just have lefties? You know? Like, already. Then we wouldn't even have to be thinking about this crap.
Dude, you know what we should do? We should just take, like, the worst players on our team and just be like, okay, well, it's not working for you on the right side. We're going to make you a left. Like, dude, honestly, like Bradley Zimmer, let's try it.
I think he was a lefty.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, like, JBJ, let's try it. I don't care. Like, one of those type of guys where it's just like, we don't give a fuck. You're going to suck anyways. Maybe you'll be good like this. I don't know.
Why not? Why not, guys? Let us know what you think about moving some guys over. I was going to say Kevin, but he is a lefty.
He is a lefty. He just can't do it. He's got to move over to righty. Because, like, he sucks at whatever he's doing right now. Literally. It's like he's just not good at this current moment.
JBJ was a lefty, too. All of our crap guys are lefties.
Well, we're shooting our shots. They're just actually not working right now, dude. Bro. They're literally just not working right now. So that's what's going on in the shortstop market of things, everybody. Xander Bogaerts is doing stuff. Also, too, some more rumors. We didn't actually pull it up here. Did you see what happened with the Aaron Judge thing, the projected contract?
No. The one where Yankees... $300 million.
$300 million.
Wow. That'd make him the highest paid position player per year in baseball.
Just to do a little, because I actually didn't do this at the time.
Do the mathematicals.
Yeah, like what is that divided by 8?
37.5
The answer is a lot.
Year. That makes him the highest paid position player per year in baseball.
$37.5 million a year.
I ain't paying that money.
A year.
No way am I paying that money.
8 years.
And he's already beyond 30. So.
And he said no?
Who's going to pay him that money, bro? The Giants will, apparently. The Giants are going to pay him that kind of money.
I'm actually just kind of shocked in the sense, like I get it. It's like that's what you deserve, dude. Like, that's what you deserve. That's it. But I guess if I was him, like,
let's wait.
That's enough, though.
Yeah.
It's like my house is here, my girlfriend is here. I don't know if he's got a girlfriend, but like, my you know, my like situationships are here, my life's here, you know, it's like everything's here, everybody loves me here, I hit 62 home runs here, you know, like
why? Dude, I think it's agent. You know, agent wants to wait a bit. The more you wait, the more you'll get. That's it. Like, you're not going to get less money. The season's coming up. People want the dominoes to fall. People are going to get desperate. They're going to be like, okay, just give it to me right now so we can move on with our whole offseason.
Right.
So he's got to wait. You'll probably get paid more than that. Probably get paid more.
That's actually ridiculous, dude. That's actually ridiculous.
Well, speaking of big contracts, Scott saying that's going to be a fun conversation next offseason, saying Ohtani's getting $500 million. And possible. Dude, possibly 500, but I think 400 is actually quite in the realm.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, I do think that
he's gonna get the biggest contract in baseball history.
1,000%, dude, because he's gonna be coming up at the perfect age.
Yeah,
he's not gonna be
20s.
as old. He's gonna be late 20s, where it's like you still have like tons of years left. Wow. If he puts up another good year without injury, like if he does this again,
400 million, 10 years.
1,000%.
400 million minimum.
Like minimum. You know, and honestly, if I was the Blue Jays, they'd be like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's Ohtani.
Now, do you have any concern of his body wearing down?
Of course I do. But at the end of the day, like, I take 5 years of garbage for 5 years of both. You know, it's like for the potential of 5 years where you can be the ace and the MVP. I will take it. I don't care, you know? Fuck the last 5 years. It doesn't matter. You know? Like, we're going to win a World Series right now.
Our team would be so good with Ohtani.
It'd be so good, man.
So unbelievably good.
Anyone's team would be good.
He just literally, we just bought, like, the best player in the game.
Dude, you know.
The best player.
Like, literally, you could, you know, you can't say this. You literally cannot say this about any single other player. But if I was to take Ohtani and if I was to times him by the amount of baseball players that are on the field and made that my team, we would win the World Series. Because he'll be your every pitcher and he will be every batter for you.
Yeah.
You can't say that about anybody else. You literally can't say that about anybody else.
I hear that.
It's fucked up stupid.
He could run the whole team.
He could literally run the entire team. We could make a team of Ohtanis and win the World Series.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh, of course. All right, what else have we got on the board? Is there anything else that has happened in baseball that is... Oh yeah, there is this thing here. Matt Boyd is getting $10 million, is probably making Ross Stripling quite happy. Yeah, the fact that Matt Boyd got a 1-year, $10 million deal, I get it's probably just because Detroit's like, we need some guy.
Right.
You know, he played for us before. Ross Stripling's got to get paid more than that.
Yeah.
Matt Boyd's doing it? How does this guy get paid $10 million, man?
Well, that also makes the Toronto Blue Jays very sad because that means that is the pitching market right now.
Oh, yeah, went over and became a reliever. Did he?
No, he just got
10
hurt,
games. Yeah, like, Matt Boyd sucks, man.
No, he's awful.
What? Doesn't make any sense.
No, that is absolutely horrible. I want nothing to do with Matthew Boyd in the slightest. I don't want to touch him. I don't want to think about it. Not at all, dude.
You won't need to. You won't need to. All right. Oh, Red Sox interested in Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, I heard about Mitch Haniger. Is he a lefty?
I don't know.
Like, is he a guy that we could be in on as well? Is that a Toronto Blue Jay target?
We just trade. We just swap outfielders. Righty. Yeah. He also has only one nut, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, respect there.
But right now, that kind of seems about it. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, let's cap the stream off right now for those watching it. I guess rewatching this thing. Maybe we'll take a few questions from the chat watching right now. Guys, everybody who is watching this, I guess in reverse, not in reverse, but like already, I don't know. Rewatching it. Shout out and thank you to everybody who has done that so far. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so, guys. Tons more content on the way, especially with winter meetings coming. Thanks so much for watching.
Go Jays, go.
Go Jays, go.